1996, Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight found themselves ringside at the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon Championship fight. By all accounts, Tupac was in a happy mood.
Could one of hip-hop's biggest moguls, Sean Diddy Combs, have played a role in the murder of legendary rapper Tupac Shakur? New FBI evidence suggests this might be the case, and today we're diving deep into these shocking revelations that could change everything we thought we knew. Alright, let's rewind to the night of September 7, 1996 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tupac Shakur had just left a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. After that match, he got into a scuffle with a guy named Orlando Anderson in the hotel lobby. Yeah, that's an important detail. Later that night, as Tupac and Death Row Records' Suge Knight drove down the Vegas Strip, a white Cadillac pulled up and bam, shots fired. Tupac was hit multiple times and tragically passed away 6 days later. But here's the kicker. After all these years, his murder remains officially unsolved. Really, how can that still be the case? Well, according to recent developments, it seems that the key to this mystery might have been hiding in plain sight all along. And now the FBI has stepped in, bringing some startling new evidence to light. Evidence that points the finger at none other than Diddy. Yeah, that Diddy. You've probably heard of him. Music mogul, entrepreneur, and the guy behind Bad Boy Records. So how did Diddy get mixed up in all of this? To fully understand Diddy's alleged involvement, we have to go back to the intense rivalry that defined the hip-hop scenes in the mid-90s. This wasn't just a beef between two rappers, it was an all-out war between two coasts, East and West, each represented by the most powerful labels in the game. Bad Boy Records, led by Diddy, had Biggie Smalls as their crown jewel, while Death Row Records, helmed by Suge Knight, had Tupac. This rivalry didn't stay confined to diss tracks and public jabs. It spilled into real-life violence. Shooting, altercations, and threats became commonplace, and the atmosphere was charged with tension. Tupac even believed Biggie and Diddy were involved in a 1994 shooting that left him wounded, which only fueled the animosity. This infamous feud wasn't just about who had better beats. It became personal and violent. On the East Coast, you had Diddy and his crew, including the notorious Big, aka Biggie Smalls. On the West Coast, Tupac and Death Row Records, led by the infamous Suge Knight. The rivalry wasn't just a media creation. Tensions were real, and violence followed close behind. Now, rumors started swirling pretty quick after Tupac's death, and Diddy might have had something to do with it. And those rumors, well, they've never quite disappeared. Why? Because people like Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a former Southside Compton Crips member, have been talking for years about Diddy's alleged involvement. And recently, Keefe D has been singing like a canary, revealing even more details that are causing authorities to take another hard look at Diddy. So what exactly did Keefe D say? According to Keefe D, Diddy allegedly offered him a $1 million bounty to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. Shocking, right? Diddy supposedly put a price tag on Tupac's head. And this isn't just a gossip from some guy trying to make headlines. Keefe D admitted to being in the car that night. The car that pulled up alongside Tupac and fired those fatal shots. Keefe D claims his nephew Orlando Anderson was the one who pulled the trigger. Does that name ring a bell? Remember the fight Tupac got into after the Tyson match? Yeah, that was with Orlando Anderson. So the pieces start falling into place. But hold up, how does the FBI fit into all of this? You might be wondering, why is the FBI getting involved now, almost 3 decades later? Well, here's the bombshell. The FBI has been looking into Diddy for other reasons. Allegations of sex trafficking and other criminal activities led them to search his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. And during those investigations, new information resurfaced. Information that could connect Diddy to Tupac's murder. The FBI's interest in the case wasn't random. For years, many believed that local law enforcement may have mishandled the original investigation, allowing key suspects to walk free. There were accusations with the LAPD, already plagued by corruption scandals, wasn't eager to solve a high-profile murder involving a rapper from the West Coast. However, the FBI now involved, it seems like they're willing to go where local police didn't. They're re-examining old evidence, reviewing witness statements, and even leveraging new technology that wasn't available in the 1990s to see if they can finally crack the case. According to retired FBI agent Phil Carson, who's been closely involved with these investigations, there is something significant here, something that could finally connect the dots between Diddy and Tupac's death. Carson suggested that the FBI is following fresh leads that tie directly back to Diddy's alleged involvement in orchestrating the hit on Tupac. And if you thought the case had gone cold, well, think again. The FBI's evidence, including witness testimonies, wiretaps and other forms of surveillance, is reportedly making it harder and harder for Diddy to distance himself from the incident. What does the FBI actually have on Diddy? Well, a lot of it comes from people like Keefe D, whose recent cooperation with law enforcement has been a game changer. Keefe D claims that Diddy's offer of $1 million was real and that he was directly involved in the planning stages of the murder. But this isn't just about one guy's word. The FBI has been digging through old evidence, including witness testimonies that align with Keefe D's version of events. What makes Keefe D's account so compelling is that it matches up with what investigators had suspected for years but couldn't quite prove. Keefe D has consistently provided details that line up with known facts about the case, like where the shooters were positioned, what kind of vehicle they were in, and even what was said in the moments leading up to the attack. Now, before you start thinking this is an open and shut case, it's important to remember that Diddy has denied all of these accusations from day one. He's never been formally charged in connection with Tupac's death, and his legal team has called the latest allegations nothing more than a witch hunt. But here's where things get tricky. If the FBI's evidence holds up in court, Diddy's career and legacy could be at serious risk. We're talking about one of the most influential figures in music potentially being tied to one of the most infamous murders in hip-hop history. Can you imagine what that would mean for Diddy's empire? And it's not about Tupac. Many believe that solving Tupac's murder could also bring new light to the murder of Biggie Smalls, who was killed just 6 months after Tupac. The two cases have always been linked in the minds of fans and investigators. And if Diddy's name is tied to Tupac's death, what does that mean for Biggie? Could there be more to the story as well? The public reaction to these developments have been intense. Tupac's fans, who have long sought justice, are hopeful that the FBI's involvement could finally bring answers. Meanwhile, Diddy's supporters dismiss the accusations as recycled claims with no solid proof, seeing him as a frequent target due to his success. The music world remains divided, with many closely watching to see if the truth will finally emerge. So where does all of this leave us? Right now, we're in a wait-and-see mode. Keefe D's testimony has reignited interest in a case that many thought would remain unsolved forever. The FBI's involvement is a major development, and their ability to gather evidence could finally crack the case wide open. But will Diddy ever face charges? That's the big question on everyone's mind. What we do know is this: the wheels of justice are turning, and with each new piece of evidence, the possibility of Diddy being implicated in Tupac's death grows stronger. Could we be on the verge of a massive revelation that finally brings closure to this decades-old mystery? Only time will tell. Until then, all eyes are on Diddy, the FBI, and Keefe D's upcoming trial. Will Keefe D spill even more details? Will the FBI drop a bombshell we didn't see coming? One thing's for sure, this is a story we'll be watching closely. So what do you think? Is Diddy guilty, or is this just another conspiracy theory? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates as this story unfolds.